The celebrities are gossiping about drama amid Baldoni.
Asking why Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were even there.
This publicity stunt last night where they went on SNL and Ryan Reynolds made this silly joke, this really silly joke.
Hollywood A-listers have turned their backs on Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds after their failed PR stunts at the SNL 50th anniversary event.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were the hot topic of conversation among guests at Saturday Night Live's.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' unexpected appearance stirred controversy and left both celebrities and fans puzzled, causing many to distance themselves from the couple.
Justin Baldoni's lawyer has some choice words about it.
This PR blunder, unfolding amid the ongoing legal battle, handed Baldwin's legal team an effortless argument. If she's truly suffering, why does she appear perfectly fine in public? Oh boy, it seems Lively might actually be heading behind bars.
Oh, hey, Ryan Reynolds. Hi. Hey. Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
Amid the ongoing legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, Lively's recent public appearance with her husband, Ryan Reynolds, at Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary special has only intensified the controversy.
It's the it's SNL 50-year anniversary, and or Saturday night, whatever. Ryan Reynolds stands up, and she's like, "How's it going?" He's like, "Good. Why? What have you heard?" And it was all ha 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 ha.
So, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds thought the ideal moment for a grand, attention-grabbing public appearance was right in the middle of a legal battle so chaotic it could be an SNL skit itself. To make matters worse, Ryan Reynolds even cracked a joke about the entire legal dispute involving his wife.
Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
This was the first public appearance for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds since she filed her civil rights complaint.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' decision to step onto the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary stage in the midst of an ongoing legal battle was certainly a bold move. While most people facing serious sexual harassment allegations and multi-million-dollar lawsuits might choose to lay low, reflect, and consult their legal team before making light of the situation, Blake and Ryan seemingly thought, you know what this scandal needs? A punchline. But that punchline has now sparked massive backlash against them.
I didn't like him. Just gonna be straight with you, I didn't fucking like him. So they're both equally repulsive.
From a legal perspective, Baldoni's team could argue that Lively and Reynolds' decision to participate in a comedy show, especially while making jokes about the ongoing lawsuit, diminishes the seriousness of the allegations. Their public demeanor might be used to question Lively's sincerity, casting doubt on how seriously she views her own claims and potentially weakening her case in court. In fact, Blake's SNL appearance could serve as Exhibit A in proving she's not as affected as she claims. Baldoni's lawyers must be thrilled. They now have visual evidence that could completely undercut her argument.
They're sort of radioactive. In one breath, Blake Lively is saying she was the subject of serious sexual harassment during the filming of It Ends With Us, and now they're making light of it on SNL's 50th reunion show. So tonally, it does seem off, and I can imagine people just wanting to stay away from it. You're going to catch shrapnel if you get involved in this drama at this point.
Blake Lively has allegedly stated that the controversy surrounding It Ends With Us has caused her severe emotional distress. Her struggles include relentless online harassment from fans who believe the film is disastrously miscast, and honestly, they're not wrong. From casting to wardrobe, the entire production seems like a failure, largely due to Lively's reported refusal to follow the director's instructions. This has led to yet another accusation against her, that she has caused immense mental distress to the director, ultimately resulting in the film's poor production quality.
We do have It Starts With Us, so I'm hoping to see you back in the double duty role.
I think there are better people for that one.
Justin.
I think Blake Lively's ready to direct. That's what I think. So, yeah.
Another challenge Lively is currently grappling with is the wave of negative media coverage that has placed her at the center of a major Hollywood controversy.
I will happily participate in releasing any further leaks that they have, because the truth should be out there.
Frankly, this is the direct result of Lively's own actions. She was the one who initiated the media and PR war with Baldoni. At first, she had the upper hand and seemed to relish the situation. But the moment Baldoni gained control, she started playing the victim. The controversy escalated when an old interview resurfaced, in which she proudly admitted to sidelining directors and taking full control of a film purely for her own satisfaction.
That wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character.
And let's not forget the 168 pages on Baldoni's website, where he has leaked raw footage, text messages, and voicemails from his interactions with Lively. The behind-the-scenes footage, combined with Baldoni's emotional interviews, paints a very different picture, one that suggests he could never have harassed her. In fact, the evidence seemingly implies that he doesn't even have the nerve to do such a thing.
I told them that I wasn't in the best place. I told them that I was exhausted, that I haven't given myself time to recover.
I told them I wasn't in the best place. I told them I was exhausted, that I hadn't given myself time to recover. This statement alone makes the accusations against Justin Baldoni seem about as legitimate as a $3 bill. Instead of the typical Hollywood predator who exploits power and silences victims with hush money, we now have a guy who, opened too many doors for people? Smiled too much? Had the audacity not to be a creep in an industry full of them?
Just when people thought Justin Baldoni was finally the bad guy, Blake Lively proved she will always be the bad guy. Justin Baldoni just released a piece of the puzzle that will destroy Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Colleen Hoover, Taylor Swift, the New York Times.
As a result, both Hollywood and the public now see Blake Lively, once the industry's sweetheart known for her wholesome Instagram baking and carefully curated perfect wife persona, as nothing more than a career assassin. And her partner, in crime? None other than Ryan Reynolds, the walking meme factory who somehow convinces us he's just a lovable goofball while secretly pulling Machiavellian power moves behind the scenes.
Contradictory. I mean, that behavior contradicts your argument that you want a fair trial and you don't want this to play out in the court of public opinion, yet you're standing in front of a room of celebrities on a national television show.
Naturally, after this wave of negative media coverage, many Hollywood celebrities distance themselves from Lively, with several even unfollowing her on Instagram. It ends with us author Colleen Hoover, along with other prominent feminists, also severed ties with her. In fact, Hoover's Instagram feed now shows no trace of Lively or Ryan Reynolds, making it clear that she wants nothing to do with them.
And then we'll talk about everybody making fun of them, like all the A-list celebrities. What are you doing here? Why are you guys here? Do you guys really believe that you're still part of our crew? You crooked weirdos.
After facing intense backlash, Lively has shifted into damsel in distress mode, claiming she's under extreme stress due to the negative media coverage and the lawsuit against her. At this point, Baldoni has filed a massive $400 million defamation lawsuit against her, and with the way things are unfolding, it looks like he's on track to win. So it's no surprise that Lively is feeling the pressure.
Now, Baldoni's lawsuit is 179 pages.
Publicly, Lively claims she's being harassed by Baldoni, his legal team, and various fans, insisting that this harassment is deeply upsetting her. But here's the real question. If someone is truly so distressed that they can barely function, why would they show up at a comedy show? People in genuine emotional turmoil don't typically attend high-profile events packed with A-listers. They don't walk the red carpet in full glam for one of the biggest televised celebrations of the year. And they certainly don't mingle and socialize as if nothing's wrong. That's exactly why Brian Fredman has plenty to say about Lively and Ryan. He's calling out Ryan's joke at the SNL event while also highlighting how effortlessly happy and carefree the couple appeared, raising even more doubts about Lively's claims.
I'm unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been sexually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation.
From a legal standpoint, this was a golden opportunity for Baldoni's team. They can now argue that Blake Lively doesn't even seem to take her own claims seriously. After all, if someone were truly traumatized and caught in the middle of a harrowing legal battle, would they really be out cracking jokes on live television? Most people in her position would be sitting with their lawyers, not hanging out with their sketch comedy friends.
But now with lawsuits and texts and all the things that she put out there, Justin is allowed to defend himself. He has, and he's been doing a way better job than your maximum effort.
If you're filing lawsuits over emotional distress, it probably helps your case if you actually act distressed. Instead, Blake and Ryan chose to appear at one of the biggest entertainment events of the year, all smiles, giggles, and lighthearted banter. The optics, not great.
They showed up to try to make light, to sort of poke fun and seem likable and see everything's cool, guys, right? No, that's why they attended.
Ryan Reynolds' involvement could also work against Blake's case, given his reputation for carefully calculated PR moves. This wasn't just some random date night. On top of that, his comedic persona makes the situation seem even less serious, further reinforcing the idea that Blake isn't exactly struggling. She has her famous, powerful husband by her side, supporting her every step of the way. On the other hand, Baldoni stands alone in this battle. He isn't a dominant Hollywood force, and unlike Blake, he doesn't have a high-profile partner rallying behind him. This contrast makes him appear more vulnerable, which could garner sympathy in court and public opinion. During an interview where Brian Fredman mocked Lively and Ryan's SNL appearance, the host even brought up Baldoni's current whereabouts, leading to yet another discussion about the stark differences in how each side is handling the controversy.
Justin, if I'm not mistaken, is on vacation right now with his kids in Hawaii. Is he still there? Do you speak to him?
I do speak to him. I speak to him often. I wouldn't call it vacation.
It turns out Baldoni is currently on a month-long vacation in Hawaii with his wife and children. While Lively and Reynolds are making headlines with their controversial SNL appearance, Baldoni seems to be steering clear of the chaos, spending time with his family, further reinforcing the narrative that he's the one trying to move on, while Lively keeps fueling the drama.
I don't think anybody who's been accused of heinous, arguably what are crimes, is on vacation.
Brian framed it in a way that portrays Baldoni as feeling utterly helpless against the storm of allegations. According to him, Baldoni just wanted to be with his family and friends, seeking peace away from the chaos, while Lively and Reynolds continued playing the media game.
I think that he is trying to gather with his family and get some semblance of peace.
Everyone seems to agree. Baldoni needs peace and support. Unlike Lively and Reynolds, he's not parading around at high-profile Hollywood events, flashing smiles or putting on a show. Instead, he has distanced himself from the drama, choosing to spend time with his family. This approach has made him a more sympathetic and respected figure among Hollywood celebrities, further weakening Lively's case. Then there's the jury factor. Public perception matters. If this case ever goes to trial, Baldoni's lawyers could use this moment to argue that Lively and Reynolds are more focused on playing the celebrity victim card than on proving any actual wrongdoing. They can claim Lively is attempting to manipulate public opinion through PR stunts rather than letting the legal system take its course. The contrast in timing only makes things worse for Lively. While she was strutting onto the SNL stage, Baldoni was reportedly in Hawaii with his family, trying to find peace amid serious accusations. Now compare the two images. One person dodging paparazzi, trying to hold his life together, while the other is cracking jokes under studio lights. Which one looks like they're telling the truth? If Lively's team wanted to portray her as isolated and vulnerable, appearing arm in arm with Ryan Reynolds at an A-list event completely shatters that claim. On the other hand, Baldoni's quiet retreat with his family in Hawaii only strengthens his case. And if Baldoni's legal team wants to use the SNL appearance against Lively, they'll likely request all media footage from the event, including behind-the-scenes interactions. There are even rumors that Lively and Reynolds stayed at the event for nearly an hour after it ended, mingling with celebrities, which could further damage their credibility.
Mingling and taking selfies with other actors, cast, and crew. We're told they finally left the studio with Paul McCartney before they skipped the after party and went home since it was already late.
Sources revealed that while Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds received cheers from fans at SNL, there was also plenty of backstage gossip surrounding them. Dakota Johnson appeared to have a great time with the couple, and they reportedly stayed at 30 Rock for an hour, mingling and taking selfies with other actors.
Justin Baldoni's lawyer has some choice words about it all.
Lively and Ryan simply laughed it off as if the whole situation were a joke. Instead of attending the after party, they left with Paul McCartney, which raises a major contradiction. Lively has previously claimed that she can't even leave her house due to emotional distress and Hollywood drama. Yet here she was, effortlessly socializing at one of the industry's biggest nights. On top of requesting media footage, Brian Fredman may also push for social media posts showing Lively's engagement before, during, and after the event. And there's no shortage of them. The couple made no attempt to hide their interactions from the media. To further dismantle Lively's claims, Brian could bring in expert testimony to argue that her public behavior directly contradicts her assertions of emotional distress. This would allow him to frame her accusations and PR campaign as pure hypocrisy. After all, if she can party at SNL, why can't she handle criticism about her movie?
But now they're out there celebrating, making jokes, making light of it, which Justin Baldoni's legal team could absolutely use against them in Justin's defense.
Now, beyond the disastrous legal misstep, Lively and Ryan are also facing the scrutiny of their fellow Hollywood stars. The industry thrives on dragging people through the mud for past mistakes, or even baseless rumors. Just ask Johnny Depp. But when it comes to Hollywood darlings like Reynolds and Lively, charming, well-connected, and bankable at the box office, the silence suddenly becomes deafening.
The words that we heard were they were confused as to why they would be there and involved in this way.
A high-profile event like SNL's 50th anniversary means all eyes are on you. Unlike private Hollywood gatherings where elites protect their own, this event brought together actors, comedians, media figures, and, most dangerously, gossip columnists. If Reynolds and Lively thought they could just show up and avoid whispers, that was a massive miscalculation.
It's really interesting. A lot of them are just not looking at him at all, even though he's standing and talking. That's really interesting. And nobody's amused, it seems.
If the reports are true, plenty of Hollywood insiders at the event were questioning why Lively and Reynolds weren't facing the same level of public scrutiny that others in their position would have been destroyed by. It almost felt like their presence was a blatant flex, like they knew they were protected, no matter what was being whispered behind the scenes.
There were people who were talking to them. Paul McCartney, strangely enough, was hanging out with them, but there were other people who actually avoided them, is what we heard, that were just didn't want to get into conversation with them.
Events like these are where industry narratives take shape. If people at SNL 50 were already whispering about Reynolds and Lively, it's a sign that their once Teflon-coated reputations might not be as untouchable as they think. Today, it's hushed gossip. Tomorrow, it's front-page news.
It does seem off, and I can imagine people just wanting to stay away from it. You're going to catch shrapnel if you get involved in this drama at this point.
Why were Reynolds and Lively even there? That's the question swirling around the event. Given the alleged controversy surrounding them, especially their supposed involvement in the Justin Baldoni scandal, many Hollywood insiders reportedly found it laughable that they were walking around as if nothing had happened. They were met with side eyes and cold shoulders, as many in attendance wanted nothing to do with them. Another odd aspect of their SNL appearance? Their own controversial relationship, which only added another layer of awkwardness to their presence that night.
There's been thousands of people who've hosted this show over 50 years. We weren't asking where every single person was. So no, there was no expectation that Blake Lively needed to be there.
Blake Lively hosted SNL once, back in 2009. Yes, 15 years ago, when flip phones were still a thing. Clearly a legendary SNL icon. And Ryan Reynolds? Oh, he never even hosted. He's just guest starred in a couple of monologues. Basically a Hall of Famer, right? But sure, let's pretend they were essential to the show's history. Maybe Lorne Michaels just couldn't do the 50th without them. But their lack of real connection to SNL isn't the only weird thing here.
This is your first appearance to go out and about after all the drama to show up on Scarlett Johansson's husband's show. Colin Jost, her husband, a big deal, big head writer over at Saturday Night Live, and they decided to go into that.
Scarlett Johansson is married to SNL's head writer Colin Jost. You know, the same Scarlett who may or may not have a history with Ryan Reynolds. So, of all places, Ryan and Blake decided to make their first post-drama appearance at her husband's show. Lively, showing up on her husband's ex's turf? That's not just messy, that's Hall of Fame level pettiness. It only proves how much Lively is panicking, desperate to get Hollywood and the media back on her side. But why? Why did her PR scheme fail?
Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds thing, and it's just, this is gold for content creators, because there is this like dichotomy that exists between like Hollywood celebrities and then like content creators and podcasters.
Well, there's been a shift in Hollywood's power dynamics, and it completely wrecked Lively and Reynolds' supposed scheme. They really tried to torpedo Baldoni's career with accusations of sexual assault and fat shaming. The plan likely relied on Hollywood's old playbook. A scandal erupts, the accused gets canceled, and the accuser seizes control of whatever project was at stake. Classic. According to this plan, Lively was supposed to gain full director rights over It Ends, with us while simultaneously becoming the latest Me Too movement victim.
As to why Blake and Ryan appeared at the show while they battle it out in court with Baldoni over drama surrounding the movie It Ends With Us. Right.
However, unlike the days when traditional media would simply echo whatever narrative powerful people fed them, independent creators, podcasters, and alternative journalists don't just take things at face value. If something seems off, like, say, a conveniently timed accusation or a suspiciously detailed New York Times expose, they dig deeper. That means the usual cancel tactics don't always work anymore. Thanks to high-profile cases of false allegations, Amber Heard anyone? People have become much more skeptical when an accusation conveniently appears at just the right time. If Baldoni had real online support, he could completely bypass mainstream media and tell his side of the story directly, something that would have been impossible 15 or 20 years ago. Once upon a time, an A-list name could guarantee a movie's box office success. Now? Not so much. Just ask Disney how those billion-dollar flops are working out. Even big names like The Rock and Leonardo DiCaprio can't single-handedly save a film if audiences aren't interested. Traditional media used to be the gatekeeper of entertainment and news. Now, YouTube, TikTok, and independent platforms have made it possible for anyone with a mic and a camera to become a global influencer. No Hollywood exec approval required.
People were sort of just noticing that Blake Lively was not the nicest person. Like, she was a mean girl, tone deaf for things that were...
Alternative figures like Joe Rogan, whose podcast reaches millions per episode, far more than most late-night TV hosts or mainstream journalists, have completely changed the media landscape. His unfiltered discussions attract an audience that actually trusts him more than, say, an actor reading scripted activism off a teleprompter. This shift means Hollywood's old PR playbook, where celebrities controlled the narrative through carefully managed talk show appearances and exclusive magazine interviews, no longer works the way it used to. Now, independent voices with massive followings can shape public opinion without Hollywood's approval. And that's a major problem for people like Lively and Reynolds, who are used to controlling the media cycle.
Certainly not the brightest person. And what you just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it. Just would know if your wife were up to some nefarious...
He has created a series of videos mercilessly mocking Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, roasting them in a way that helps Baldoni shape public perception. While traditional celebrities might boast millions of followers, the reality is, how many of those followers are actually engaged? Meanwhile, independent creators build loyal fan bases who actively listen, support, and spread their content. Other major voices, like Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly, have also used their platforms to push videos in favor of Baldoni, further, helping him gain a dedicated fan base. This is where the true power shift lies. Hollywood stars are no longer untouchable when independent media has the ability to expose them to an audience that no longer blindly believes the A-list narrative.
Somebody in Blake Lively's camp was shopping around what they claimed to be HR complaints to various tabloids and publications, namely TMZ, Daily Mail, and the New York Post.
Once people got their news from CNN, Fox, or the New York Times. Now, citizen journalists and independent commentators like Matt Taibbi, Glenn Greenwald, and Breaking Point's often break bigger stories with more credibility and transparency. That's exactly why the public didn't take the New York Times' extensive article about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni seriously. It was blatantly part of Lively's PR campaign, a calculated attempt to destroy Baldoni's reputation, but instead of swaying public opinion in her favor. the transparently manipulative article backfired massively. Rather than painting Baldoni as the villain, it smudged Lively's entire campaign, turning her into the Hollywood elite trying and failing to control the narrative.
It is the article where they are covering the Blake Lively complaint, claiming that text messages that were used in the article that they wrote just depict him in the wrong light. They're out of context.
Now, as the big day approaches, March 9th, 2026, the nervousness of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds is escalating. Both of them must face the court and answer for the defamation campaign they allegedly started against Justin Baldoni. Up until now, it seems like no one in Hollywood is standing with them. Their PR campaigns are failing miserably, and the SNL event is the perfect example of that downfall. But the drama is far from over. More twists and turns are coming. Subscribe to our channel to stay tuned for the latest updates on this Hollywood legal war.